Why is this a girl saying?
It is what it is.
Okay.
They want good looks. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
They want someone that they're attracted to.
So guys, you have heard the sisters, inshallah. You've heard what they had to say. We didn't. We was in another room. And we are going to get them to send us their results halfway through this. So we don't want to know now, so it might influence our decision-making factors. Brothers and sisters, the next episode we're going to be doing is we as men guessing what a woman look for in a husband. And then they're going to come and tell us. So vice versa, inshallah.
Do you want to speak with confidence like these amazing personalities? Every single one of these amazing speakers have taken the same program with brother Mohammad Arshad.
Mohammad Arshad has helped develop all of us. It's extremely beneficial to do this course.
Definitely recommend this course.
To access the free life-changing training now.
Okay, so today's topic, sisters, is in a nutshell. We need you guys, inshallah, to tell us what you think a man looks for in a wife. I want you guys to brainstorm that, whatever you think, whatever ideas you have. Come to a conclusion. You have anywhere from 35 to 40 minutes. Yes? So we're going to leave the room now, inshallah.
We'll use our phone.
So the topic, you can start whenever you're ready. You can start now. Pick somebody who's going to take the notes down.
Okay, let's just brainstorm what men want in women.
Okay, so who wants to go first?
You start from there. I mean, anyone can say
Anyone
whatever comes to your mind.
Okay, I'll just say what I said before. What I think men want. Wait, what was it? Women want. Men
What
want.
men want
Okay,
in a woman.
what I think what men want in a woman is just her presence. Her presence alone is healing. Her presence alone is what nurtures a man to be a real man. That's what I believe anyway. Because if you really think about it, I'm not saying that men have a harder job, but being the providers and being the provider and the protector, the world is harsh. And if the world is harsh, you want to come home to someone who is going to re-energize you again before you go back into the world. So I think what men want is a nice, kind, caring, nurturing woman who nurtures the good things about them. That's what I think. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think I think it's the same kindness, and even if you look in the Quran, that is one of the rights of the man when it comes to marriage, is that the peace and the kindness and the tranquility is from the woman, and in return we give the respect, and when the man is kind to us and treats us good, we give him respect and all of those other things. And like you touched upon, the security and providing, if the woman is not feminine, it makes the man become like wow.
It's like let's say if a woman is like, let's say a woman, for example, a woman who's hyper independent, and who's struggling to let down her guard, because a lot of people, we talk about hyper independent women and say, oh, she just wants to have a career and she wants this and she wants that. We fail to realize there's a huge barrier, which is the fact that she might have some sort of like trauma, like in the sense that a man, whether that's her brother, her father, or a previous marriage, whatever the case may be, has let her down, and she felt like, I am not safe in this world. I need to provide for myself. So there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of trauma behind it. I'm not safe in this world, so I need to become hyper independent. She's in her survival state. When a woman's in when a woman is in her hyper independent state, she's in a survival state. She needs to survive. So let's say a woman who's hyper independent comes with a man who's also like, let's say, masculine. It's two like kind of masculine energies clashing, and it's not gonna work out, obviously. But I don't really know what I was going with that point. But yeah,
I'm writing your points down. Anyway.
You know what I'm saying, innit?
Just kindness. Again, attraction. I'm going to touch upon attraction. I would say attraction is vital. I mean, a lot of people don't like to accept it, but and they want to fuss and moan about why women got makeup and stuff. If the woman doesn't look attractive, the man's not going to be interested.
Yeah,
100%.
one thing I've noticed anyway with men.
One
thing I've noticed with men is they want a woman who looks after her physical appearance.
100%.
She looks good, even when you're 10 years into marriage. And that's one thing men really like.
Because it's to do with his
'cause-
ego.
Yeah, and
It's
they
to
like
do
they
with
like
his
the
prize.
visuals about what girls, you're
Everything's
beautiful.
attraction.
Exactly.
Everything's attraction.
Especially
with
like
men.
just you as like just
Because
you.
no, you're right. You know, if you guys are right, if you think about it, men are obviously very visual creatures,
aye.
whereas women, we're more mentally stimulated. Like we if a man is intelligent and masculine, and like we get stimulated mentally, and that's what's makes us attracted to men. Obviously, physical looks is also very important for women as well, but
Yeah.
Not so much, I think.
not so much as
Yeah,
men.
we
Not so
definitely
much as men.
That was
compromise on
always
that.
that was
We can
always
compromise
like
on
that.
third
Always do, I
down
think.
on the
No,
list.
no, you're
for
right.
me.
We can compromise on that, but for men, it definitely is visual creatures because that's the first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how
and
they
you know
work.
what? It's so true. Bismillah, there was a sister that was looking for marriage. She's like maybe now probably in her 40s. She's still not married, by the way. And I remember one day, me and my sisters were sitting with her, and this sister did not make an effort. Okay,
Physically.
I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying,
Okay.
if I was a guy,
Yeah.
I wouldn't find it attractive.
Yeah.
And that's the God's honest truth. If I seen her, I wouldn't think, oh God, yes.
Beautiful.
Bismillah, I want to go for this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you have to have a plaque of makeup on or whatever. Just cream
Presentable.
your face.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
It's that simple.
Just cream your face. You know,
Don't look
take
ashy.
care of your jilbab, whatever you got on. Look good.
Iron
you know?
your clothes.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think it's
and
the sense of effort that's more
Yeah.
attractive than the actual
That's it.
end result.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
sometimes, you know, we all have different levels of beauty, and beauty is actually in the eyes of the beholder.
beholder, yeah, that's
And
true.
we might consider a sister to not be that attractive
Yeah.
because of what our
Abuse.
competition is between
Yes,
females.
yes.
But for a male, she might be really attractive.
Yes.
And I always say that being attractive and being pretty are two separate
Two
things.
different things,
Like there are people that are attractive, but when you actually sit down and think about the actual makeup of their face, they're not good looking.
yeah, they're not
But
good
they
inside
have an
as well.
aura, they have a sense of pride, and that gives you the illusion, or gives men the illusion that it's attractive. So for example, you have a lot of sisters that, you know, maybe go to the gym, spend time moisturizing,
Yeah.
oh, I've got to, new perfume, etc. Because it's the idea that she's taking care of herself that makes her attractive.
Yeah.
Now,
Exactly.
she might be less attractive or pretty, because I define those as two different things, than, the next sister that he sees on the street. But maybe that next sister doesn't look like she looks after herself. So in his
100%.
mind, he doesn't have the top prize. He doesn't have the prize.
Yeah.
Because the best things are looked after.
Exactly.
So
It's
true.
it's also play on psychology as well, and I think that's part of when you say I want a good looking or attractive woman, they are two separate things. And some men want actual beauty in terms of, from Allah, like natural, and, and that could be, some men prefer the no makeup.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
the beauty, and others actually need makeup and they
Yes.
don't mind because they just want something that looks beautiful.
And
So, it depends.
Essentially, what they're actually attracted to is the femininity of
Yes,
the woman.
yeah.
So I just wanted to quickly land that in, because what you said, it comes out in different ways.
Yes.
Do you understand? But in actual fact, if women are beautifying themselves, creaming their skin, taking care of themselves, being in a real feminine energy, that comes out beautiful regardless.
Yeah.
You become attractive regardless.
And that's
Do you know
very
what I mean?
natural to a woman as well.
Yeah.
We want to look good.
But if
Yeah.
you're wearing, men clothes and you're raggedy and you've got this big
And you've not
body-
brushed your hair for like
Do
a
you get
week.
it? You've got this like really bad, attitude.
Yeah.
That's not that's because you're not in your feminine. Do you know what I mean? And the
Yeah,
man's not
that's
going to
true.
find that attractive.
Of course.
he sees that as a competitor. Actually,
It's in their nature to like pick
Yeah.
out a woman who's feminine and who's taking care of herself. But I was gonna say, to add to what you were saying, when a woman takes care of herself, like for a man, it's like oh, she's taking care of herself to look good for me.
yes,
And it's kind of like, yeah, obviously you are individual people, but sometimes you know, when you're in a relationship for a really long time, like you're married for a really long time, you do end up seeing that person as an extension of yourself. And because you see them as an extension of yourself, you when they look good, you're like, yeah, like that's my wife. My wife looks good.
Yeah,
You know,
There's also a sense of selfishness on the male part.
Of course.
It's to do with their ego. It's
What do you mean by that?
it means that, for example, if you're looking good, you're like you said, you're reflecting on him,
And you're making
so
him
it
look
makes
good.
him, so his
Yeah.
status amongst his peers rises
Right.
because it's like he's got the prize, you know.
Yeah.
So it's also a status thing, and that's what I mean by ego. You know, it's the same for women when if you know we want a protector and provider. You know, sometimes, I mean, I guess you could explicitly say we want someone that is doing well financially. That's also a sense of prize amongst women, and that's why we compete for that generally. You know, we want that provider. I'm not saying he has to be rich. I'm just saying the provider factor is a competition.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the equivalent for males, I think. It's the looking after one.
But I was
Because you're looking for the ultimate provider.
I was
I
gonna.
mean, I wouldn't
you
put
have to
it
speak
as,
to them.
I wouldn't say it's a competition.
Okay.
Because I would want best for my sisters. I wouldn't compete with them.
No, but
That's
Oh,
really
someone-
that's really honourable.
Yeah.
sisters, we don't compete with each other. We would. I'm
they
talking about
do.
other
They
like.
do.
Everyone as
I've
well.
got 6 of
Everyone
them
in
and
general
actually
as well.
we do
Because obviously we're here to build a great ummah, and if we're going to compete with each other, then like we're going to clash.
You are
I
your own
agree.
competition.
But the reality is there is a competition. And
You're right.
And it's like the survival of the fittest amongst the mating world. It's like even animals do it and other creatures. And it's just innately in us. It's like even if you went to an all-female event, like a wedding or something, each sister will dress up in the best way possible. And it's not necessarily because she's competing for a man. They're competing amongst one another innately, even if it's not deliberate, to look good. You know, like they have a beauty. And that's where, you know, where there are sisters, for example, that are, you know, okay and accepting of polygamy, for example. If you're number 3 or number 4, you don't mind number 1 and number 2, and you see it as you are competing. It's like a competitive position to be in. You know, and why is that? Maybe the man has something so great to offer. Obviously, it has to be a provider, and that's what it comes down to. Sorry.
Don't you?
So,
I get what you're saying, and I think there's a lot of truths to what you're saying. Because if I really think about it, sometimes, you know, let's say you're getting dressed, and you're like, I want to look the best today. So I know what you're saying. There's a lot of truth to it, but I think it can like become a little bit toxic if we start if we have that mindset of, okay, I want to look the best, but you can't look the best, and like
I agree.
Like,
but
it
the
can-
reality is there are
but it
sisters
just I think
that are
it,
really
but it, I think it
competitive.
comes down to the individual
And it's honestly
themselves.
very honourable, and it's really good, you know, for us to be able to look into that and say, hang on, there's no competition here.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
of course.
we are all, you know, beautiful in a different way, but there are people that are competing.
Yeah, but I think personally for me, like, okay, I want to look really good. I want to look
For
the
yourself,
best for myself.
Good.
But then when I see other women, I think, oh my God, you look amazing
Yes,
as well,
I
and
like
you look
that.
amazing as well.
Let me just add
I don't think.
that what you're talking
Yeah.
about. It's something you yourself personally.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
That's why I guess
no,
it's an
and it's
individual
an
thing.
amazing place to be
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
by default, us women, we don't come like that.
Okay.
We are envious
Interesting.
and jealous by default.
I've never really
Subhanallah.
experienced that. To be honest with you.
But I'm exactly like you.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
see a sister and be like, mashallah,
Yeah,
you're so
same.
stunning. You're so
Like, you
beautiful.
look good, but I
But
won't
that
feel like
takes practice
Yeah.
and educating yourself
'Cause-
and humbling yourself. But
course.
by default, if
Yeah.
the woman hasn't got emotional intelligence,
yeah.
she's going to be jealous. She's going to be envious. We see examples of it in the Prophet's wives. Sallallahu
Yeah.
alaihi wasallam. It's
Of course.
addy.
No, I agree. Like, it is in our nature, but I guess for the women out there who do experience that, it's a natural emotion to feel. Don't feel
Yes.
guilty about it.
Yes, it
but
is.
I do want to say, like, okay, I'll give you like a tip to help you, like, mentally. If you do see a woman who looks really good and you do feel a little bit envious, it's okay, but you just tell yourself, but I also look good. Like you should tell yourself that. Maybe
You know, I feel like
Yeah.
it's this idea of I used to compare myself a lot when I was
Yeah.
younger, to be honest.
Yeah, of
and
course.
it's when you're like super insecure.
Yeah.
We've all gone through that stage, I'm sure all of us have. But how I see it anyway is everyone is on their own journey. You don't know what their story was in order to get to who they are right now.
Exactly.
So be happy for their success and just focus on you. And that mindset has changed me. Like I am happy for whoever their success is, but my focus is always improving. I am my own competition. That's how I see
100%.
it. So if I'm trying to improve myself, I look in myself and I say,
Look inwards.
How do I improve myself inwards?
Yeah.
And that's how I like to see it.
Yeah.
So, okay, someone attractive, not necessarily...
Someone
attractive.
who basically attractive,
kind.
Okay, I wrote it down.
Nurturing and feminine.
We said a woman in her real feminine energy. So she's soft, nurturing, caring, kind.
Speaking to the mic.
Number one thing I separated was peace. Men want peace.
Peace.
A woman's beauty, someone who takes care of herself. She dresses up
Can
for
I
the
add a
man.
key one?
Yeah,
Which no one really talks about, and it is fertility.
Okay.
Men are looking for a fertile woman. Even if they don't know it, that is what they're looking for.
Yeah,
and
it's in their nature.
All those other things we're mentioning, attraction, all these other things, they actually look at a woman, because I actually was watching a show about the shape of women as well. The shape of women, men will look at the shape of a woman and say, okay, she can bear my children. She can carry good children. She's okay.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even realize they're doing it themselves.
Yeah.
They look at a woman and say, okay, looks like she can carry children. She looks fertile.
It's the mating.
Because you remember, by default, Allah's created them to procreate. We're supposed to be procreating. We're supposed to get together and make children. So ultimately, he's looking for a fertile woman. A lot of people don't discuss it. They don't talk about it. Fertility is important for men, okay? And we don't talk about it because it's the women who carry the baby and we're the ones that are pregnant. But the man is the one that gives us the child.
Yeah.
So he's essentially looking for a woman. Is she going to be a mother? Can she nurture my kids? Can she, bring a home together? So fertility is definitely on the list for me. Fertility is one of the important things that people just completely miss for men.
Okay, what else, guys? What else?
I would say a good
Mike.
Oh, sorry, babes.
Sorry. I would say a man wants a woman to listen, like as in like if he's had
wife.
not like
your husband. I mean,
I would definitely listen to my husband, because if he's had like a bad day at work, or if he just wants to vent,
like understanding.
Understanding and a good listener. Like I would do that for him.
Yeah, I get what she's saying. Like, let's say when you say listening, I think she's basically saying is he wants to feel heard, like, because usually if you think about a masculine man in the real world, they're very stoic. You can't really show much of your emotions. You have to like withhold a lot. But then when a man is in the presence of his wife, he becomes like a child. And he becomes like he can be himself. And he can only be himself is if that woman holds space for him to be able to be himself, and she's understanding, and she actually listens to him, like listens to what he has to say. And
Can I add something on?
yeah, go on.
So when I say like a good listener, because I know that men, they tend to not talk about the feelings, and they're a bit cold with that. So me being a good listener, showing empathy towards him, would allow him to slowly break down his, like, the patriarchy, how
being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Now we're going on to something that I think guys,
it's a cycle.
The men are not going to agree with you lot.
I don't think they want that in a woman.
No,
but
that's
my opinion.
No, they want to be vulnerable, but
Yeah.
what you're saying is it's very conflicting. It's like, okay, we want to be vulnerable, don't say it.
No, that only happens with your wife, because with the Prophet, peace be upon him, Khadija radiallahu anha, she was so close to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and he would express his feelings to her, like,
He was vulnerable.
exactly.
Yeah.
So a man being stoic is not as like I don't see it as like a really positive thing.
I think it's a good thing.
There's nothing wrong. Stoicism is a good character trait.
You could be. There's the half and half. You can't be fully stoic.
No,
Otherwise,
but
it depends your context.
Yeah, because
Depends on your context.
I think it's really important for a man to be stoic, because for you to practice, I don't know if people understand, like stoicism is the art of like
Someone who doesn't complain.
yeah, someone who's able
Like
to
a-
carry out his responsibilities and his tasks and his daily things that he needs to do as a man without like moaning and complaining and like finding ways of like trying to avoid that. Like,
I think everything you're like saying is actually haq. Yeah, it's all facts.
Yeah.
But then we're gonna go into society, because I feel like the way we think as Muslims anyway is completely against the way society's made us start to think.
Of course.
So there's this conflict of agreeing, like you're saying no stoic, they're saying, but it's like, okay, but society has literally programmed us to not make men shouldn't be vulnerable, and now women are kind of real women, Muslim women, are like dying for the man to be back that way.
Yeah, like I want my man to express his emotions to me. Like
No,
she meant it in a different
We're dying for masculine men now. We want the man to be like Rajah and come home with like barrels of water and be like, babe, you don't need to work. But what society's done is made women and men equal, so that the men are crying at home, oh babe, I can't go to work, so I got a cold. And do you get it? Like it's true.
That puts me off. I'm sorry.
Like, we've been convinced that's normal. Like, okay, the man should be at home crying on your lap 24/7. The Prophet Muhammad SAW wasn't crying all the time. There were times where he was legit killing and fighting because he had to. And most of the time he was in his masculine state. He wasn't always vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? And that time with the Khadija radiallahu anha, when he was the Quran was first revealed to him, that was the first time he was probably vulnerable to that degree.
Yeah.
But that's not men by default.
Yeah.
So to say like, I want my man to feel like that, and women, that's our issue as well. Why don't you talk to me? Tell me what's going on. And the man's just thinking, shut up. I just want you to sit here and be quiet sometimes.
Yeah.
And let me think this through. And this is why there's this conflict. But society's told us girls, which is fine, because it's the way you've been like raised.
You've been programmed.
You've been programmed to believe the man should be at home crying.
You know, I don't have to.
I'm gonna go and put on my jacket and go to work.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
I'm gonna give you like a solution. Okay.
I love
Go
solutions.
ahead. It was a solution.
Okay, for all of us girls, in order to find like a really healthy relationship, I think we need to understand men.
Well, they don't want to be emasculated. Just off what you're saying, sister, is essentially we're not saying never be vulnerable. Obviously, everyone has vulnerabilities, but if he's sharing something, he doesn't want to feel he's emasculating himself, and he doesn't want you to react in a way that suggests he's emasculate. So. You know, and this is where the submission aspect comes in as a wife, is that you have to recognize where you're going to submit to him. So I think sometimes this submission thing, especially in mainstream society, has been cast in quite a negative light. Oh, you're submitting to your husband. But submission doesn't mean just doing anything and everything he wants without any other compassion or elements to the relationship. It means just recognizing when you have to pipe down as a female to let him rise as a male, and vice versa. Like it works both ways. There's going to be times where he's going to have to be more compassionate to you so that you can be in your femininity. You know, let's just talk about the ideal model where he's working all day, etc., is coming home, doesn't want someone to come home and make him feel even less of a man that another man might have made him feel outside of the household. So you have to pipe down and think, let him have his moment of masculinity in the day that maybe he was criticized by other men. So he needs to regain that identity. So this is why, it's very important for us to, as wives or females, to respect that man's need. Yeah. And we talk about men's needs and we always relate it to intimacy only, but that is part of it, in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah, that's...
No,
okay,
I was...
Just to stop and go back to the question, what men want in women. You guys tell me about what you think about the points. I'm just jotting it down.
Yeah, go on.
So a woman in her real feminine energy, who's soft, nurturing, caring, kind, peace. A woman's beauty, someone who takes care of her appearance, she dresses up for her man. Fertility, an understanding and empathetic wife. I've also added submissive and respect.
Yeah. Those I think those we've covered enough
things.
We didn't
how
religion,
many points did you
which is
suggest?
really interesting. Why none of us actually said a religious wife.
Oh yeah.
Why did no one say that?
God
But is
conscious.
that
It's a basic. It's
But
a
is
basic
that
though.
the
But I'm
one
glad
of
no
every
one
man?
did.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm glad
Because
no one
it's
did.
it's like it's like
Because I feel like
should
it's
be
a
there.
scapegoat. Because
Yeah.
people just go religious man or religious woman.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
you
okay,
need
that covers
you need to
everything. It really
elaborate that
doesn't.
though. It
Yeah.
really doesn't
Wallahi, it doesn't cover everything.
genuinely we there's been a lot of women who fell for religious men and they have never worked on themselves, they've never looked inwards, they've never worked on their traumas, and they're very toxic. Very toxic. And then they use religion as a scapegoat to be like, yeah, because Islam says so. Okay, but have you really thought about it? Do you really know what you're saying? Because clearly you don't know what you're saying, because you're using religion as a scapegoat for all your problematic behaviors. I've noticed that a lot. But yeah, it is. I feel like of course a man does want a woman who's on deen,
For his children.
Not
Not necessarily because he
because
appreciates
a
it
woman
for
is a
himself.
school. A woman is a school, and she's gonna be the first point of contact with your children. Like your children are gonna be raised with that woman's mindset. That woman you choose to marry, your children are gonna have the same mindset. So it's so important to look at so many aspects. Mindset. We forgot about mindset. Like a man is going to look at woman's mindset. What's your
Would
mind?
you really look for that?
But sometimes it's genuinely for
Yeah, but
the
high value
children.
men. Okay, if we're gonna go into that topic,
But girls,
high
I've
value
got a
men do
question.
look for.
I've got a question before we go, because the brother said we got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So everything we've just mentioned, okay,
Yeah.
how would the brother know, just by looking at a sister, that
You
that
vet her
sister
out. You ask her
she has
questions.
all those essential
so
things?
now that helps us get down to just the four most important things
Yeah.
that men look for, and how you gonna
Talking
know
to you, Mike.
how you gonna know her energy and just how she carries herself.
How does one know? Like, I hope the brothers ask themselves this as well. How will you know that that person has all of those valuable, essential assets that we just, characteristics and all these things?
It's down to him to think of the right questions.
But
Of
is
course,
it Islam?
of course.
I feel Islam brings them to that point. So you see somebody, you know they're a Muslim for one. They should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
That's
They
the
should be at
basics,
least
bare minimum.
trying to observe
Yeah.
hijab.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. Bare minimum.
And hijab's different all over the world,
Yeah, of
by
course.
the way.
Of course.
So I would say Islam is the top, being a Muslim, being a religious person. And then from when you can confirm that that person's a Muslim, then you can go on to the next stage,
Guys.
which is, I don't know how people are finding out who people are and how
Yeah.
they're meeting each other
You know
other's
how
days
I
these
see
days.
it.
But
You know how I see it for men. Think about the first man that was created, the Prophet Adam.
Yeah. Adam alayhi salam.
And remember, he was lonely in heaven, and all he wanted was just a companion,
just wanted a gyal.
and that's it. Men don't want much. Women want a lot.
we have a lot. Like we have a
Men
lot of
just want a
requirements.
That's a good
companion.
point. I like that point.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
He just wants companionship. He just wants her energy, her aura, her presence is enough. Like a woman.
Yeah, and men have said that as well.
Yeah.
Just sit there. This is
Just
what I
sit
mean.
there, just-
But
like, you
women
don't
we're
have to say
problem
anything.
solvers.
Yeah.
We nurturers by nature. So we
Yeah.
just want to
Analytical as
nurture.
well.
Yeah, we want to nurture things and so I've got an issue with control freaks. Okay, females who are control freaks. Listen, it's too much. Do you understand?
But there's a lot of like trauma behind that as well. I know I keep mentioning trauma, but there's a lot of psychological like
yeah,
issues.
but I know, but it's
when it comes to that.
detrimental.
Yeah, so you work on yourself before
Yeah,
you
gotta
have
check
to work on
yourself.
yourself. Yeah. Like, do I know myself enough
And
before I can...
secretly, I'll just add, I don't know if she's going to cut this out. They
Go
want
on.
psychos as well. They want a bit of a psycho chick. A lot of guys don't want I'm joking. Stop it.
Wait, what do you mean psycho?
I just couldn't hold it in.
Elaborate, psycho.
No, it's too broad.
Yeah.
It is, but they do want a bit of psycho. I'm just saying that because of the kind of
Like
messages
drama.
I read.
Psychos are just a bit of a challenge, but not in a negative way.
Okay. Right, I see it. I see what you mean. Like a bit of a challenge.
I
They want to
can't
work
hold
for
in
it.
for too long. I've been trying to behave.
No,
But the truth is, they want a bit of a
To be
psycho.
honest, okay, I get what you mean. Like, because men, they feel like for men, they're the ones who go through the, what do you call it, the vetting process. They chase, and they like the chase.
But sorry to cut you. I think this
Because-
is essential before
go
the
on.
end. The kind of guy we just described, the man that we just all spoke about,
Yeah.
is a man of old times. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The modern man today,
Is
this is why I
weak.
said a psycho.
Sorry.
Because
No,
the
sorry.
modern man today, his requirements are far different. Okay.
50-50.
Go on, tell me.
Do you really want me to say it?
Yeah,
I don't
go
know
on.
if I can.
No, just say it. Go
I
on.
don't, but I'm going to say it. But
Yeah,
it's
go on.
PG.
PG. keep it PG.
I can't keep it
Okay,
PG.
don't then
That's the
carry
truth.
on. Okay, carry on.
Unfiltered.
So, okay.
Just be you, mate.
This is the truth, the modern man today, Muslim or non-Muslim,
Okay.
a lot of them want the Botox face. Yeah, this is the truth. They want the Botox lips, the Botox forehead. Wallahi, this is the haqq. This is not modern. This is shaitan in a hijab.
That's scary.
They want the Botox face. No. I'm really trying to put this across because I want the brothers to understand. They want the Botox face, sex, a sandwich maker and a slave. And because a lot of them have this mentality where this woman is here for my pleasure only.
Yeah.
Anyone's
Very selfish.
been around modern mentality, not saying all of them, but some of the guys, majority of them, and I know because I deal with them in my DMs and I deal with them in the comment section. And a lot of them say, just go and make a sandwich. You're just here for sex. This is the truth. This is the haqq. Okay. The Muslim man, what we just described, doesn't necessarily exist today, or he's he's hiding away from society because it's the truth. And the brothers will probably say the same about the sisters on the other side, because the requirements for the sisters as well is insane as well.
You know what it is? I feel like everyone's
toxic
touch with themselves.
We've lost the haqq.
Do you know why we've lost touch with ourselves? It's because we've lost touch with Allah.
Sorry,
it always comes down. No, I get what you're saying. I do think it's a very it's a subjective based thing what you're saying, and I do see it, and I think if you're a man who watches porn and you indulge in stuff that you're not supposed to be indulging in, you're gonna have these
watching porn.
You're gonna have these requirements because why
you don't even need to watch porn anymore. You just need to go on IG and porn's just at your doorstep. Do you know what I mean? So we're in a society where that is being pushed in your face 24/7. Sorry. 5 more minutes. Yeah, it's been pushed in their face. That's what I'm saying. The modern man today, if we're going to talk about the modern man and what men want today, the men of today, that's what they want.
But I think it's
very sandwich maker and a slave.
But okay, let me add to that modern man.
Truth.
I think the reason why the modern man that you've exactly like you've described, this is all surface level, yeah. And if you're going to be looking for women who have surface level stuff, then you're somebody who is surface level as well, because we attract who we are, and it's the truth. I don't care what anyone says. We attract who we are, and if you're choosing surface level things like that, materialistic stuff like that, superficial stuff like that, then have each other.
Yeah, but
have each other, because this is what you want. You're most likely a surface level guy as well.
This is why you got the modern Muslims and the non. Back in the day, do you think something like this could be happening? Us having a podcast like this with men and women talking, and halas, it's not happening. But we're in the modern times, and we've really got to understand that. And I think we've lost way of the deen itself. The deen was created and made for every time, every era, every generation. We've lost it completely. We've literally lost it. Sisters are looking like a Halloween mask. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry.
Brothers and brothers too. They're getting they're dyeing their hairline, hair implants. It's crazy. Do you understand? So when we're looking at it, looks surface level, yes, but people are surface level internally and externally.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They don't have the deen. Remember I said about feeding your soul?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even pray. They don't read the Quran.
And this is the basic.
The stuff that keeps our soul alive. Do you know what I mean? So what do you think is going to happen after a while? You're watching, constantly strolling on TikTok, constantly on Instagram, which is a porn website.
Okay, but then
it's made us completely. Our preferences become what we are watching and what we are exposed to.
I guess we need to become more conscious, because I feel like we are innately conscious beings, but we're not conscious of the things we're consuming
and the effects of it.
And then you don't realize the effects until I guess later on, until the choices you make.
Okay, guys, now we need to actually take a pick. We need 4 things. Okay. I'm going to read out the list again. And
go on.
You obviously have to agree on it. God conscious, Islam. A woman in her real feminine energy. She's soft, nurturing, caring, kind. Peace. A woman's beauty and someone who takes care of her appearance. She dresses up for him. Fertility. An understanding and empathetic wife. She's submissive, respect, a good mother, companionship.
I'm going to take off this list. I think if I'm going to be quite honest, the most important ones here, and I think
I know it's a long list.
And they're standing out to me when you see the list. Definitely respectful. Men ramble on about respect.
Yeah, definitely.
Submissive. is going to...
Does respect fall under submission though?
Yeah, yeah.
it
This is
kind
what
of
I'm saying.
Submission
So
is
then
quite a
between
wide
those two...
category that covers a lot of aspects.
Yeah, so respect.
Respect,
Let's say
yeah.
respect.
I'm going to leave the submissive one because I've got different opinions on that.
Yeah.
And definitely respectful, religious, fertile, and
the beauty.
attractive.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's my...
Right.
So religious,
Speaking to my
fertile,
group.
attractive, and what was the last one?
Beauty.
Yeah. I think that's the first one.
Okay, and then we'll agree like together.
Okay. I would say God consciousness. A woman in her feminine energy, so soft and nurturing, kind, caring.
Okay.
Someone who's respectful, because it's mutual.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. And a good mother, because I think they just want someone who can provide them with kids.
Okay. Right. I would say what men want in women is feminine, soft and nurturing. They want a respectful, a submissive wife, a woman who is a good mother, who is also fertile. How many did I just say?
You said like 4.
Okay, yeah. And companionship, 5.
I'm going to do
I
a
can.
take on what we've all agreed
Yeah,
on.
yeah, go ahead.
Pretty much.
And kind of conclude from there. So I think what we're saying, though not necessarily agreeing 100%.
Just like the 4
but the
main
key
things,
things that we're all agreeing on.
Yeah.
Is they're looking for a mother. Looking for respect. Dean.
Yeah, and beauty.
And femininity.
Yeah.
/
Femininity,
that falls under
beauty, yeah.
That's
so
it.
I think those
That's
are the
ours.
4 that we say.
Our 4.
Okay.
So, guys, you have heard the sisters, inshallah. You've heard what they had to say. We didn't. We was in another room. And we are going to get them to send us their results halfway through this. So we don't want to know now, so it might influence our decision-making factors. So, in a nutshell, brothers, the sisters were asked, what do they believe a man looks for in a wife? We're going to actually tell them what we actually look for in a wife. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get their results and compare it to ours and be like, okay, is the sisters, maybe have high expectations, or maybe are they dreaming? We're going to find out today, inshallah. So let me just open the floor very simply. As men, what are, let's say, 4 things we look for in a wife? So every man, from a Muslim man's perspective, or there might be some things that maybe even non-Muslims can agree. So let's start with, are you married?
No, not yet.
Okay, so let's start with you.
Inshallah one day.
Inshallah one day. Okay, so what would you, as a, how old are you?
I'm 25.
MashaAllah, so 25 Aki, yeah? So what would you say are the main things that you look for in a wife?
I'll mention one quality. So I don't want to say the standard things like deen, etc., because that's a given. So I'm going to say I look for shyness in a woman.
So okay, I'm going to be writing these down, yeah? Okay. Carry on.
Okay, so I look for shyness in a woman, and what I mean by that is I don't want someone who's got friends everywhere, male friends everywhere. Do you know what I mean? If we go to a restaurant, she knows everyone there. I'm looking for someone who's a bit shy, right? Who understands sort of that integrity aspect. That's one of my main qualities I look for in a relationship.
Okay, and is that the main thing?
Well, the main thing is going to be deen, isn't it? But that's
mention
a given.
3 things to me.
3 things. Okay, so I do want someone who's a bit sort of career focused as well. So that's another thing, right? Have some sort of ambition, anything career focused, business, some sort of thing to have on the side, just to give them a bit of ambition. Essentially, that's what I'm attracted to. 3rd thing is obviously deen. That's number 1 priority essentially. So having that sort of eagerness. Me and the brother next to me, I was speaking to him earlier about it. Having that sort of that eagerness to learn about Islam, Salah, the main thing. So it's things like that. So I'm looking for the 3 main things.
Okay. Mahdi, what would you say is a man's criteria?
Do you mind if I just question the brother, get some clarity? So, Akhi Mahdi, you mentioned my twin, by the way. Nice to meet you, Mahdi. It's very strange for me to say Mahdi. I rarely say it. So you mentioned just now that you would like your wife to be career focused.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 questions. Number 1, why? Number 2, how do you know that you want her to be career focused?
So for me, career focused...
Or let me provide more clarity to the question. What's your experience of being married to a career focused woman?
So 1, I can't give experience with that because I'm not married, never have been.
Okay.
But essentially what I mean by career focused is, doesn't necessarily mean, you know, she needs to go out 37.5 hours a week. What I want is to have some sort of ambition, a business on the side, anything. Even our Prophet's wives had businesses on the side. That's what I'm attracted to, some sort of ambition.
So you mentioned you're attracted to it. What? By the way, I don't have a problem with this. I'm just trying to get clarity. What makes you attracted to that? What is it about that attracts you to that?
Yeah, and I understand. So with that, with career, job, that sort of stuff, I sort of apply intellect with that. So I think it goes hand in hand. So when I see someone who's got a good job, safe job, high-paying job, there's progression in there, I like that. I'm attracted to it in a sense where I know they've worked hard to get there. They've got that sort of discipline to get there. It's an example of something to look for.
If she doesn't have that, what is that indicative to you? Or what do you fear she might be or not be if she doesn't have these this skill set that you've mentioned?
So for me, it's not sort of black and white. It's a sort of, there's many factors with this, right? But if she doesn't have any sort of ambition in that aspect, I don't think she's as hardworking as I'd like her to be honest with you.
So why do you want her to be hardworking? Again, it sounds like an accusatory question. It's not. I'm just trying to understand. What do you want her to be hardworking for? What's the end goal or the end value that you get?
Yeah, the end goal is Jannah for everyone, isn't it? You know, it's heaven. But for me, on a personal level, it shows to me that she's worked hard for something. Do you know what I mean? And I understand.
Do you think you're conflating ambition with career? Like, because you know, we have this propaganda tool of career. Do you think you're talking about somebody who has a drive, who has an ambition? But do you think you're just misequating it, making it synonym to career? If a woman is, for example, smart, she comes to you and says, you know what, I did my degree in mathematics. I do not want to work. I want to be a housewife.
Again, she's still got that degree. She's still worked
Good.
for
So
it.
it's not that you want a career wife. It's basically somebody who's gone out there, done something, has something, is clever. What do you think, Mehdi? Do you think he's coming from there, or is conflating the two?
I honestly, I don't know. And that's why I'm trying to get clarity. And don't think I'm not putting you under the cosh, bro. But I always try to get clarity before I provide my answer. I want to understand either what value do you get from that, or what do you fear she will not have if you marry a woman who doesn't possess these qualities? One of the two. You're looking to either seek a value from her of some sort, or you fear she might have something that you don't like. What is it? Which one and what is it?
So for me, in that aspect, I don't want a woman to have 100% reliance on me. I want some sort of level of independence on the woman's side.
Okay,
that's the gist of it.
So when you say 100% reliance, do you mean from a bills perspective, or do you mean from an emotional perspective?
No, just not even from a bills perspective. I'm happy to provide. It's more of a sense of having her own thing going on the side. For me, I'll have a job. I'll have things that I do outside of the marriage. I want her to have qualities like that where she can have her own independence, time away from me, etc.
I'm glad I asked all of those questions, because now I'm in agreement with you.
There you go.
And it's very important, Yani, for your woman to have her own little thing going on, because otherwise the boredom will kill her. And who's gonna be
project it onto the man?
Yeah, you'll be picking up that slack. So in that case, I agree with you.
Okay, good. So guys, I think we have about maybe under 30 minutes. So the first thing is we said, okay, modesty. You mentioned, should we like career, or should we use another word?
Ambition. Ambition.
Okay, maybe, ambition. That's fine. So Mehdi, what's the 3 things that you look for in a woman?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allah says in the Quran, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. And from His signs is that He has created from you wives so that you may find peace in her. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. So Allah has already described in the Quran one of the major qualities that we are able to receive from a wife, and that is peace. Especially if you are a man who is hardworking. You don't have to be, by the way, high value man. Bin men are hardworking. Yeah, plumbers are hardworking. A hardworking man. Yeah, blue collar, white collar is irrelevant. What does he want to come home to after his hard working day? Peace. Okay. He doesn't want to come home to a war zone. Okay. For me, after the deen, and when I say deen, I'm not looking for no sheikha. She prays 5 times a day and she wants to get better in her religion. She has that eagerness there. That's enough for me. Then, peace. Can you be peaceful? Bismillah, mashallah, alhamdulillah.
Okay, I think the word peace is very, very vital, which I would agree with as well. From just obviously I'm the host, but I would just like to add on. Like to me, it's obviously the deen. The deen should be there. Peace is fundamental. It is so fundamental because we as men with our masculine traits, we deal with all this chaos and, you know, whatever it is for what angle, do you get what I'm trying to say? And we want to come home to peace. And I've said this before, like I've confronted, you know, the Britain First Jada. Do you remember her?
Yeah.
I always say this to myself. I was like, can you imagine I come back home to another Jada? No, just imagine, I'm confronting Jada. I've got all that headache, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, well, try it. And then I come home, there's another Jada waiting at home. Yeah, I don't want that, bro. I want peace, yeah? So peace is very fundamental, and modesty and deen for me personally. But, Aki, for you, what was the 3 things that you would say that you look for? 3 things that you look for in a wife, and men look for as well.
You know, I think I was looking for 4 things.
We didn't say how many wives you want. We meant how many.
So why do you tell the truth? It's the bit of truth, bro. Tell the truth. Inshallah, if my wife is watching, she knows the truth too. But no. Inshallah, for Janaz. But for anything else, 4 things.
Yes.
That I would look for.
Yeah.
1, there has to be emotional compatibility. Right? I have to have someone that I can emotionally connect with. I have to have someone that I can intellectually connect with. That me and her, we're on the same mental level. If I'm talking about one thing and she's completely alien to what I'm discussing, then we're never going to be able to connect. I have to have someone that I can spiritually connect with. That on our journey together, that she accepts and respects my leadership in our spiritual growth. And also, there has to be someone that I can physically connect with. So these will be my 4 main things: physical, spiritual, emotional, and intellectual.
Okay. Bro Sartaj?
For me, alhamdulillah, it's first is deen, everyone knows, but peace is very important. But I personally think the important thing is loyalty. You need a wife to stand by you no matter at good times, at bad times, she sticks by you and be there for you. Not like when she's there with you at good times and when the bad time comes and now she turns away. Like, you know, that's a very, very important thing in a marriage, because there's loads of women there that when the hard time comes and they don't stick by you. So for me, a loyalty, a woman who sticks by me at the good times and the bad time, for me is very, very important in a marriage.
Okay. So there's some few things I've written here. So I've written modesty, deen, ambition, loyalty, peace. 3 of us, I think, agreed. The word peace is something that resonates with all of us. Emotional connection. Now, when it comes to emotional connection, spiritual connection, that's a bit more. I think we're talking more about individual aspects. I want to talk a bit more general. What men look for. Like, can we agree that every man wants somebody, a woman that's feminine? Can we agree? Because I think I don't want to go into the nitty-gritties of I prefer this. I want to make it a bit more broad and a bit more general in that aspect. So does every man, should we say that, for example, what would we put at the top of that list? We've got, let's say 4. What can we, because we need to agree, what is the thing that every man will be like, this, without this, it's not happening? What would that be?
Well, for the deen, essentially, that's the main thing. We all picked up on that. Without deen, you can't have a successful marriage.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Really?
I think in general, men will place a lot of value on a woman's looks.
On looks, 100%.
And if she's not good looking, no matter how pious she is, I think men will be like,
so I mentioned this before.
I might be wrong, but
I did mention this before. I said on the last episode that men do look for looks a lot, right?
Right.
And I think you're correct in assuming that. On a general basis,
that's a
the
totally
first
different thing, though, isn't it? Because if you're going to marry her, you're going to make her your wife.
Exactly.
Of course, you're going to go for her looks, but then after that, everything else.
All right. Therefore, then there's
No. I agree with what he's saying. We need to be real with ourselves. Yeah. Okay. And even if you think about the matter of looks, it's important for us because we live at an age where it's a bit mad. Yeah. So looks is important, and because it helps you to lower your gaze, it helps you to be content with your wife, and especially living in an age where there's certain things that are taboo, etc. For example, if a man wanted to get married again, there's a whole chaos, hoo-ha. So it's very important for you to be content with your wife.
But what I'm saying is, like, the look are important, but you're not gonna, like, what we look for in a wife. Of course, is going to be, you have to be attractive to her. to marry her.
Okay, good. So,
Yeah.
so this is what is important. Okay, so Deen, look, okay, let me make it. If you had somebody who is absolutely religious, Qiyam, Quran, you name it, yeah, she's carrying Quran with her everywhere, yeah. She is not good looking. When I say good looking to you, would you marry her?
No, I wouldn't marry
okay,
her.
good. So let's be.
The brother's correct.
I want to be real here, yeah, because in my marriage seeking process, yes, there were sisters who were really religious, but not to my liking. Yes. So therefore, I have to be real and not act pious and be like, no, her Deen. So looks play a role. So Deen, look, if I met a sister who was drop dead gorgeous, like beautiful, yeah, but she had no Deen, again, to me, yes, I would have to fight my little shayateens here, like, you know, but yeah, you know, you might teach her the Deen.
Ali,
yeah, well,
Ali,
okay.
Brother Ali, I've got a question for you,
Yes.
okay? So the thing is, all right, a girl can be beautiful,
Yeah.
but what about her character? As soon as you talk to her,
Yeah.
and a girl can look beautiful when you look at her,
Yeah.
but her character is so bad that
But that's the first thing men look at.
Okay. So
the first thing men look at is looks, and then everything else comes is
the
like a
character
secondary
is
thing.
very
Okay.
The
important as
brother's
well.
correct in
So
in
okay.
saying
So
that.
do we agree, Mahdi, as well? You, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll call Mahdi 1, Mahdi 2. Yeah.
Mehdi
So-
one over here actually.
No, that's what I said. Mahdi 1.
Oh, perfect.
So, Aki, so I'm saying in a nutshell, when we look at a potential, is it Deen first or looks first? Because I believe, like for me personally, it would be like I have to be attracted to her. Then the second thing is Deen. If the Deen is not there, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean the beauty in itself is going to do it for me. Can we agree? Is it Deen first or beauty first in that sense? But they actually work simultaneously.
But the Deen can come afterwards, can't it?
True.
You have to be a certain amount of Deen.
True.
But all I'm saying, if you're religious yourself and you like, you know, and you meet a woman that is attractive and she's got some of the Deen in her, but when you get married to her, your relationship, the way you are, your Deen will get stronger together.
True. That's the potential, but it can happen. It goes based to the character. But Deen, like if somebody's not praying the salah, I do not care how beautiful you are. Yeah. If you're not given the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're not gonna give me my rights. They don't give me Allah's rights. So to me, I would say, can I write the top list, Deen and beauty? Can we agree on that?
I would say the following, and that is, I'm assuming the majority of your audience are the men who will be watching are men who are not married. Because if you are already married and we're talking about second, third, and fourth wife, I will give you a different answer. Does she have to have Deen? No, she doesn't have to have Deen. Does she have to want Deen? Yes, she has to want Deen. Meaning, there are a number of sisters out there, for whatever case, they're in an environment that is not conducive towards them practicing the religion, and they are inherently weak. Women are easily led this way or that. This is why, as a Muslim man, you can marry a Christian or a Jew, but not vice versa, because women typically are the ones who are led. And she's in an environment that is not conducive to her practicing the Deen, but she wants to. She acknowledges and recognizes, I want to do better. I need that guy to give me that final push, because she's in an environment where she feels she can't do it herself. This is a very positive indication and quality, okay? We're talking about for first wife now, because second, third, fourth, I'll give you a different answer completely. Does she have to have Deen? No, I'll tell you straight up, she doesn't.
Let's stick to the first wife.
So let's stick to the first. Exactly. Yeah. So does she have to have, she doesn't have to have it, but she has to want it. And if you apply this when you're dealing with sisters, I guarantee you, to the young single brothers who are watching, you're going to expand your pool of potential eligible bachelorettes available to you, because a lot of brothers are looking for the ready-made sister. She doesn't exist. You need to look for the core ingredients, and then it's on you to bake the cake. It's on you to assemble the wife to your liking, so to speak.
But the thing is, like with me, I'm the perfect example, because my wife is a Reaver. She wasn't Muslim when I met her. Yeah. I've done everything right. My acts and action made her interested in Islam. And we practiced together. I wasn't a good Muslim myself, so we practiced together to become better Muslims, and we're still practicing. So that's the whole...
Yes, in that instance, you're absolutely right. Like, for example, you went on that journey together.
Yeah.
But for example, like for myself, and that's an exception, because if I met a sister who was a revert, and she wanted to know, I would, as long as she's saying, I want to learn, all day, every day.
Yeah.
Even if it comes, like, I'll be honest with you, even if it comes, she doesn't wear the hijab, and she's like, I would like to. As long as the character and the willingness is one to be there, that's fine. So we're talking about those who don't have the willingness.
Yeah.
So should we say beauty and Deen? Two things that men
I just want to pick up on that point that the brother just said. I think there's a boundary though. I think a lot of people in my generation, they put too much emphasis on when they get married, then they'll become religious. They'll have too much dependency on the other to help them get religious.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's between you and Allah. You can't rely solely on someone else to
Yeah.
push you through and become on deen.
Let me expand on that point, because I actually dealt with a sister once who actually said this to me. I was considering her for marriage. And she said to me, after we get married, then I'll wear hijab. I said to her, I'm not feeling this vibe or your attitude towards it. What do you mean? No, but after the wedding. La habibti, yani, what is it you want to do? You want to have a big fat wedding and all of that? I didn't like that. But if the vibe is, you know what, brother, I know I need to do better. Believe me, I really want to do better. I know I'm messing up. This is a positive indication that she's just weak. And that if you are stronger than her in your iman, which you should be, by the way. I get confused when brothers say to me, I want my wife to guide me. Separate discussion. But if your iman is just a little bit stronger than hers, you will give her that final push.
Yeah, again though, I understand what you're saying, but the problem with that is if two weak people with weak imams, they won't be able to help each other. They'll probably fall into a bigger
Then the
pit
thing
than
is
they
with
were
that
previously.
type of thing,
Most men nowadays, I don't think.
But I think a man has to be the stronger person.
Yeah, well, that's the
man
ideal
has to lead in
situation,
that.
isn't
So
it?
the thing
I
is,
don't
if a
think that's
man
what's happening.
is weak and is trying to get with a weak woman, then it's not a good match. They're just gonna stay the same.
Okay, so far we've got two guys. Our time is kind of running out. So beauty and deen, number one. I think let's put deen on there, and then beauty.
But I don't want the sisters to get all like, because when they hear this beauty thing, they're like, man, they get this like next level anxiety.
But this is very important because we have to. There's a thin line because you're right. I don't want them to feel like, oh, you see, this is the reason why. And sisters, sadly, that's the reason why they're so easily influenced.
Should we say beauty or attraction?
No, we're gonna have to. No, we'll say
Attraction.
attraction. So we'll say deen first, and then attractiveness. Meaning that, for example, we all would agree that if there's someone that's really on deen, but they're not attracted to them, you will not marry them. Yeah, we all agree with that. And I think vice versa with the sisters as well. Okay, so then we've got deen, we've got attractiveness. What is third in the line where you're like, okay, this is vital? Yeah, and let's not conflate. Can we say someone on deen is modest? Can we say that?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so then what about modesty? Like haya,
yeah, I mentioned that. I agree with that.
But I personally think I don't know. Loyalty is a massive thing. You don't. The thing is, like, you can have
loyalty be simultaneous with modesty because it is. Can we
I think
say loyalty and modesty?
I think they're two separate.
What do you think? Loyalty and modesty.
I think they're two separate traits. To be honest
Why?
with you, loyalty covers so much more than just modesty.
Because you want a wife to stick by you, like the hard times and the good times. You don't want a wife who's attractive and who prays, and when the hard time comes, then she's not with you.
I agree with you, Sir Taj. I'm going to give you a parable that might shift, even though I agree with you. Yeah, I'm not in disagreement with you. But I'm going to give you a parable that might shift your mindset on this. And that is, let's say you work for a company. You're an employee at this company. You find out that the company has 6 months left of payroll, and then the 95% likelihood they're going to go bankrupt. I have a question for you. And you can choose option A or option B. Option A, you'll ride or die. And you're going to stick it through to the end, come hell or high water. Whether there is a job for you afterwards or not, doesn't matter. Option B is you're going to start applying for jobs elsewhere. Whilst you'll continue working for the current job. Which option you're going to take? Ride or die to the end, or start applying for jobs elsewhere just to be safe?
The thing is, I can't really like company situation and life situation.
They're not comparable, are they?
They're not the same thing.
I'll explain to you why it is comparable, and the reason why is this: in a company situation, although it's a different example, and let me just make it. I'm not excusing women who do this, by the way, because you're right, there is a slight difference. But I'm trying to make you understand. They are the more vulnerable of the two between you. You are the quote unquote leader. What does that make her? The follower. You are the captain. What does that make her? One of the, I don't know, the guys on the ship, whatever you want to call it. Not demeaning her level. What I'm saying is that when you are the one being led and you sense weakness or impending doom in your leader, you are going to feel a certain level of anxiety and lack of security. And in the example that I gave you, you will start applying for another job. Now, am I giving women carte blanche to start applying for another job with their husband? No, I'm not. But I am saying I understand why the thought would creep into her mind, possibly because they are the vulnerable of the two in the relationship. She's trusting you to lead her. And as far as she can see, there's no payroll in 6 months' time. What's she going to do? I'm pregnant, or I got your kids and we're not going to have no money. Maybe I need to start looking elsewhere. This is why a lot of women do end up, quote unquote, monkey branching elsewhere because of this. She is the one who is in the subordinate position in the relationship. And I'm not excusing her. I don't excuse this behavior. If her husband is doing his best and he's really trying, she needs to have that commitment.
The deen comes in the way that every test comes from Allah, and if this is your test, so if she doesn't want to go through
I
it,
agree.
that's her choice.
I
you know what
agree. I'm just this the female experience. That's it.
So okay, all right. So what's the third? Are we gonna go with what was it, loyalty or?
Loyalty.
I think modesty for me.
I'm gonna say what I think is important. After deen, after beauty, it is cleanliness and how she manages the house. Now, if you are married to a woman that's unhygienic and she isn't looking after the home, then no matter how much peace you're getting, if you've been fighting with Jada during the day and you come home to a pigsty.
I prefer that over Jada all day, every day. I prefer that all over Jada because you know what? That I can clean up. There's a solution to that, cleaning up. But there's no solution for Jada.
But then here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you come home, no, that's fine. That's fine. Personally, for me, if it's not clean and it's there's I think from the majority of men that I've spoken to, that I deal with, there is, and you have kids, if you're going out to work, there's an expectation that this is your duty.
So that's like the homemaker. So
I do
feel
feel
like-
under motherhood, isn't it?
You know what? That can be taught easier than loyalty and modesty, in my opinion.
It's a character trait, innit?
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
guys,
So-
we need. Okay, look, peace is something we spoke about. So the third one, is it loyalty or peace? Because peace is, I'll be honest with you, I think a lot of men want peace. Like a lot of men, it's just look, I just want peace. Like,
But loyalty
But then
comes under
peace would come with
then.
loyalty, wouldn't
Yeah,
it? They're
peace will
both
come under loyalty, innit?
linked.
So
let's
we
go.
should
We'll
we
go with
say
peace. Should we go with peace?
Peace.
Yeah, okay, look, I'll write peace down. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. What's number 4? We might have 5. Well, two more, yeah? So what's 2 more things that, and let's make it more general. Let's not go to the, like you said, cleaning, etc., which is true, but these are some men might be like, okay, no, I don't really mind. We're talking about core values.
I think an important thing is when your wife makes an effort with you. Like, you know, she looks good, she was trying to look after herself for you. You know, like, but that comes under attraction, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So do we need 1 or 2 more? So what, like we talked about haya, modesty. Does that fall under deen? Modesty?
It's part of it, I think.
The deen should improve your
is a big
modesty.
one, don't it?
Yeah.
If she appreciates you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an important one. Appreciation, gratitude, especially for the majority of men who are
Yeah, a lot of
doing their
men-
best,
Yeah.
and you know, maybe his best is not as much as she wants, but that gratitude, that's a big one.
Yeah, gratitude.
Gratitude. Okay, gratitude. Okay, that's actually very important because you know why? Gratitude is sadly, it's a trait the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that women have
It's
internally.
very important because think about a man working hard and he's trying his best.
Yes.
And he comes home and his wife tells him, "What are you doing? It's not good enough."
Exactly. Good.
How would you feel?
See, now we're talking about core. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So this is gratitude is fundamental. Not only that, the Prophet ﷺ talked to the woman and told them that the reason why majority of them were in the hellfire is because of the ingratitude, because they were ungrateful to their husbands. You know, so in that aspect, it shows that there's a character issue there which they need to work on. You know, so gratitude. Okay, the last one. So we've got deen, beauty, peace, and gratitude. I think this is good. This is good. One last thing that you guys would add on there? One last.
Loyalty is quite powerful on that. You know that if you're looking at all of these, I think loyalty actually carries quite a lot of weight.
Yeah, it does. Loyalty is very. I think in a marriage, loyalty is a big, massive thing.
It does carry weight. Yeah.
I think it covers a lot of bases. Loyalty. It doesn't mean she's going to cheat. It just means sticking with
and
you.
a woman who
Yeah.
doesn't gossip a lot.
I'd agree with
Also,
that one.
because the thing is that she can. I think you're right. Like even if she has deen, it doesn't mean that she has loyalty, right?
It should inspire loyalty, but often it doesn't. You're right.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but then again, the argument could be that how far can she go before she jumps ship, right?
Yeah.
So that's the whole different question. But overall, I think that's something that you expect if you're the captain of the ship, that your crew are with you.
Okay, good. Should we find out the results from the sisters and
Yeah,
see what
let's go.
they had in mind? Okay.
Do we get a prize? We've got the most right.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, a free holiday to Ibiza. Can you ask
Gold badge.
Anas to ask? Let me go. Let me go get my wife. Okay, so guys, since we are reacting to it, we have more time. So here's what they wrote. They wrote that they believe we look for deen, we look for respect, Why didn't we write respect?
That's a
down,
good
bruv?
one. Why didn't we say respect? Yeah.
We'll plug in somewhere. Deen, respect, peace, mother. I don't know what that means.
Oh,
Motherhood,
being a good
maybe.
mum.
Motherhood,
Yeah.
family. They wrote a woman who is in her feminine energy, soft, nurturing, caring, and kindness, dress up for the man and takes care of the appearance. Okay, so that's looks. Okay, so that's interesting. We got Deen there. Peace is there. That's good, but we didn't put respect there. And to be honest, as men, isn't respect the main?
that comes with
to us is like
that comes with gratitude.
Yeah, I was
doesn't
gonna
it?
say.
So
I was gonna say.
they're similar.
Okay, so that's interesting. So they have written the Deen, which is they got right, respect, gratitude, peace. That's good, man. They've done different. So
done
the sisters,
good, yeah.
I was expecting some La La Land
No.
stuff. I'm not joking. I was expecting like but anyways. So what do you guys make out of that? So do you believe the sisters today are kind of in check with the realities of what men want?
Some
Because that's the reason
sisters are,
we're
some
doing this episode, huh?
Some sisters are, some aren't. It just depends. It's case by case now, isn't it?
Okay, so let's say we're speaking to these sisters who are watching this, yeah? Because I'm sure they're going to be watching this, yeah? What would you say to them to look for in their future husband? Three things, or a nasiyah that you would give to them? Because they've written their results, which is, I'm actually very surprised, it's very close to what we are looking for. So they are kind of in tune. I thought they were out of tune. They're quite in tune, the sisters. May Allah bless them.
Yeah.
What would you say to the sisters that are watching this who are maybe looking for other stuff?
I think today that there is so much pressure on men and women in society to almost break a family up. That I think there's like a war on family today, right? And that for sisters, when they're looking for a potential spouse, they have to look for someone that's going to provide real leadership. Now, there's a lot of men, like, for example, I think most of us here are fathers, right? If you're a father and you're a man, you can immediately see a man that's not really 100. Like he's trying it.
That's why you're the guardian.
Right. You can see right through him that he's coming in and he's putting on a show because deep down he's not secure. We can see that. All of us as fathers, we can see straight away. And we will know when we see a man whether he's gonna be able to look after someone. He might not be there, but he's got that potential because he's secure or he's grounded. Then you can see others that are trying to fake it like they are. We can see through them too, right? Yes. So I think it's really important for sisters to have, what if they can, a good relationship with their fathers, and if not, a good relationship with a male guardian that they trust, and like an older brother or someone that can, check another guy. So I think that's really primary.
That's what Islam is. Do you want to say
What women need to find in a man, is it?
No, but basically, what advice would you give to like sisters? Because the expectations here, these sisters, mashallah, they're on point.
Yeah.
But if there's a sister out there, what do you think? What nasiyah would you give her to look into in a man? Like a couple of things.
Important thing is Deen and his character. What kind of character he has, how he carries himself, how he talks. Is he respectful? And the people around him, who hangs around her, where he hangs around, what he does. You know what I mean? All them things and that will show his character, what kind of person. But the thing is, this doesn't guarantee the person, because he might be, like a lot of people put act on and say who they are, what they are, then after marriage they're a totally different person. But you have to do your best to do your research. Don't walk into something and thinking that, like he's a good looking guy, and just walk into it with blind and just mess yourself up. So I'll say every time, if you want to go into a marriage, do your research properly, but his character and his Deen is very, very important, and who he hangs around and what he does.
Yeah, I think the Prophet ﷺ said that when it came to this, look for someone Deen and the character.
Yeah.
It's very fundamental. A lot of sisters make that misjudgment of he looks righteous, pious, but the character is so flawed. It's disgusting character, which is vital. Yep. Mehdi, number one.
Yeah.
Yes.
What the brother said, sort of safety, security, to ensure your home's going to be there, your family's going to be there. If you're married to a man who's constantly job hopping, doesn't have a job, you've got no sense of security and safety there. Another point as well I'd like to make is confidence. Look for a man with confidence, and I say that confidence in the right things. So I don't mean confidence when you're just chatting for days, making funny jokes, this and that. I mean confidence in your Deen, confidence to take control of the relationship, to say, what you want to do, what you think is right. Be a leader, essentially. I think a lot of men lack that in this generation.
True. Yeah, Matthew, what would you speaking to a young sister who's maybe?
I would say where most individuals go wrong, especially in the Muslim community when it comes to marriage, is they go about procuring too much information. They talk for too long. They meet too many times. They go too deep, and then they discover each other's flaws. Familiarity breeds contempt. And when you're not tied by marriage to have to figure it out, you're like, there must be someone else better out there. And the truth of the matter is we are all flawed. We all have things that are dislikable, all of us. What you're looking for are the core ingredients. Are the core ingredients there? Alhamdulillah, Bismillah, pull the trigger. And don't spend forever talking. And I have a rule when it comes to, if I'm to consider marrying a sister, maximum I will meet her 3 times. Usually I don't even do that now. Maximum. First time is just assessing general compatibility. I'm not looking to go into any deal breakers or things like that. Just, is there chemistry? No point talking about deal breakers if I haven't even established if I like you or not. What are we even doing? Second conversation will be, okay, now we need to find out what are the expectations here. That's where we go a bit deep. Third meeting is just when we're getting married, and that's it. Too much information is bad information. This texting backwards and forwards on DM, and not only is it haram, to be honest with you, but you're actually sabotaging your chances of getting married.
Very true.
But Brother Mehdi, I just need to ask you, you said about like people meet up, but do you think it's so easy that people get divorced nowadays because they think grass is green on the other side? You know what I mean? Like nowadays, like back in the day when people used to get married, it used to be like, let's work on this, let's, if they had a problem at home, they would work on it. But nowadays, if they have a little argument, they want to split up.
Yeah, people have commitment issues at the moment. They can't stick to,
There's a deep-rooted issue, but
I mean, this could potentially take us to another discussion. How much time do we have, Akhil?
Not much. We can maybe discuss that another time. But if there's anything you want to add on, I
mean, it's a long-winded answer, but
it's fine because we're reacting to them. So we're good.
But to answer your question, Akhi Sirtaj, is that so? As Ali pointed out earlier, Akhi Ali, that the majority of divorces are initiated by women. Women are neurotic by nature. We all know this. When the going gets tough, even a little bit tough, I want to leave or whatever. A lot of women have this tendency. Yeah. Your job as a man is to be that wall where her emotional waves crash on, right? And I have found that, and just to juxtapose what I'm about to say with, like, I'm not talking out my backside. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. By Allah's permission, firstly and foremostly, and any good I have is from Him, and He can take it away from me as quickly as He gave it to me. So this is not me polishing my own halo, but I'm just so the audience know. I've been married for nearly 20 years, alhamdulillah. 6 of those years in polygyny. I have 8 children of my own, 3 orphans, and I also have a number of wives, alhamdulillah. And the one frame that I have found to be the most effective in not just attracting, but maintaining women, and the small circle of men that I can count on one hand who also have multiple wives in their harem, if you like, is do what you gotta do, whatever that is, with regards to work and responsibilities. And after that, you'll deal with your wife. When you are running from pillar to post, trying to please her, chasing after, what is it that you want, Habib? Who cares what she wants? She doesn't know what she wants. This is what you know what she wants? She wants you to take the lead. Do what you gotta do at work. And then come home, sweetheart, we're going out. Yalla, let's go out. Let's have some fun, whatever the case may be. But when a man is constantly, his frame of reference is what makes her happy. Habibi, that changes from that's a moment to moment thing. That's like it's a fleeting and it's passing.
It's interesting. Look, I have a lot of differences with many people here, yeah, and but that statement a lot of people would listen to, and I have to agree to that. Not going into my personal life, but I've been a Muslim for 10 years. I've had a jahili of 10 years, and even in the deen, like even Sister Naima B. Roberts got heat for this. So if you look at the deen is actually the wife pleasing the husband. It's not vice versa. This doesn't mean you oppress your wives. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is our sisters, women in their nature, they're emotional beings. There's instability there. They need somebody who can take the lead. And that's correct. When we're out there working for our family, like I said before, I mean, Andrew Tate even said this as well. We don't go out there with the ambition of, I'm going to wake up in the morning, go through A, B, C, D, and all these obstacles to come home and oppress my wife. No, I'm going there to give her the life, inshallah. But it's not at the thing of, if you try to go and please your wife, like, whatever she wants, And the statement might sound a bit misogynistic, whatever, but sometimes she doesn't know what she exactly wants. You know, it's in their nature. You need to understand. Do we know this phrase? Like, for example, when a woman says yes, it means
No.
Okay, so it's very clear that in their biology, they will never tell you directly what they want.
The one underlying quality,
the
one underlying quality that I have found of men who are able to attract and maintain women without any problem, and they typically have multiple wives at the same time, and I include myself in that statement, is that not one single one of them ever asked what makes her happy. Not one of them ever concerns himself with what makes her happy. Does that mean he wants to make her unhappy? No. He wants her to be happy, but he doesn't make it his primary concern. These men are typically very, very busy. They hardly even see their families. But then when they see them, Yalla habibti, let's go, we're going out. We're going to have some fun. He doesn't concern himself with this question in the first place. That's not his orientation. His orientation is, I have to take care of these responsibilities which are heavy on my head. Take care of that. And then we're going to go out and we're going to have fun.
Yes.
Hold on, there's a question. What about if he's not dealing with his responsibilities and therefore she is unhappy and then he's escaping? So neither is he fulfilling his actual responsibilities, nor is he considering whether she's happy or not, because he's like, come on, let's go out. And she's like, well, we've got all of this that you haven't dealt with. He's like, no, I don't care, because I'm the man. Because in his framework...
He's not a man, he's a boy.
Of course, but then we are living in a society today where men don't know how to be men, right? We're living in a society where women and this feminist movement is so strong that for a man to be less manly and more soft and so on and argue himself into like avoiding his responsibilities, he's like, well, I've become the leader now. So how do you deal with that?
So you're right. That's a whole different topic in the sense where you're right. We're talking about men who give their responsibilities. The men that you're talking about, like I said before, whenever we talk about these topics, the sisters always come into their head of this vile, crazy individual. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a man who gives his responsibilities, is good to his family, etc. But he's a leader. Like myself, I believe I try my best in my ability to lead my household. But does that mean I don't listen to my wife? I would. So if I listen to my wife, she might have some concerns. Okay, good. Let me listen to it. I'll listen to it and I will categorize and prioritize them. Yes, I'm not going to go and be like, okay, she wants this. No. I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, okay. You've told me? Okay. Do you get what I'm saying?
The thing is, I just want to...
men who are fulfilling
Yes.
I just want to make one thing clear. When we say a woman wants a leader, I don't mean that we mean that women should have a boss. It doesn't mean you're a boss. It means you're a leader. You lead over the house. You make the decisions. The decision is yours. The last decision comes at the house. When you discuss with your wife, you make the decision because you're the leader of the house. And a lot of people might think that, he's trying to be a boss. No, that's totally different thing. You're a leader of the house. That's why you're the husband and you have the last word that you say, yeah, we do this or we do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because a lot of women would twist that. I was saying he's a leader, wants to be a leader, but he's trying to be the boss.
No, you're right. I 100% agree with you. But the sisters need to also realize that they need to pick let's call it a boss. Pick your boss. Either like you don't have no problem going to a career and your boss tells you to do A, B, C, D. But when it's your husband who loves you and cares for you, who died for you, your boss will sack you in an instant. Bye-bye. He doesn't care about, my kids, I don't care. Sorry, you're not doing the job for me. But that's another topic. But in a nutshell, we've concluded some other topic. And also, it's interesting that I'm very impressed that we have had 3 things that we picked that the sisters picked, which shows, alhamdulillah, we're in tune, alhamdulillah. So, brothers and sisters, the next episode we're going to be doing is we as men are going to be guessing what women look for in a husband, and then they're going to come and tell us. So vice versa, inshallah. You can watch the episode probably after this. Till next time, brothers and sisters from Bitter Truth Show. Thanks our guests. May Allah bless them, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.